So welcome to Propertymark Pulse in association with Rightmove. Is it me or has this year absolutely flown by? We have so much on the go in terms of aspects like new legislation, housing emergencies, bumps in the economy, promises and pledges from government, plus a whole lot more as well. It's been a year that has been absolutely non-stop, so what better way to round it off than get the thoughts and opinions from key people who have been living and breathing every twist and turn. So to round the year off, I've got Nathan Emerson, Mary Lou Press, Megan 18, Stuart Collar-Brown and Michael Sears to talk about their sector overall, sales, letting, auctioneering and commercial aspects respectively, and Sarka Wilde regarding her ambition of raising an incredible £20,000 for the Propertymark Trust.
Keep up to date with the latest news and information from Propertymark.
So let's get right into this. I have Nathan Emerson, Propertymark's CEO, right in front of me. Nathan, is it fair to say that 2025 has had its ups and its downs?
It's certainly been a year, Jonathan. So we've had a number of things happening. I think on the letting side, obviously, there's been a lot of brain and attention into obviously renters' rights. And we now have clarity over that, and we have implementation in 2026. So that's been a major cause for concern for a lot of letting agents as to what the outcome would be, how that's going to affect landlords and how it's going to affect tenants. And I think now we're all coming to terms with what that environment will look like. We're planning for it, preparing for it, and we're guiding members, more importantly, to ensure that they're in a position to handle that effectively from D-Day, really. So that part's been quite good. I think the housing market itself has been surprisingly resilient, really. We've had a lot of challenges throughout the year, and I think the delayed budget obviously concerned a lot of people, because obviously that last quarter in the year is very, very important for the sales industry. You know, it's what sets you up really for your pipeline for the following year. And the later budget did cause a little bit of hemorrhaging, but actually by and large, you know, the housing market has been resilient. The number of transactions still falling within the range that we would need. And in the UK, we need to hit between 1 and 1.2 million. We've seen small amounts of house growth in some areas, a little bit of contraction in others where the market got a little bit overheated. But I think the other good part is as well, from a mortgage affordability point of view, we're seeing more and more affordable, you know, mortgage products coming into the market, really supporting that process. If we can get the government to release some more first-time buyer support and support around new homes into next year, obviously that would help us set up 2026 a little bit better. But overall, sales side's gone well. And again, the auction market has continued to ramp fairly strongly, really. It's becoming more and more popular to move into auctions, and both traditional and modern method or conditional auctions are both working very well in this environment, becoming much more mainstay. And I think also the commercial market, again, you know, whilst it's tough out there, as all of these marketplaces are, you know, there are resilient operators out there, and there is activity. There's more activity starting to happen on high streets. The bigger entities obviously are finding that retail can be a little bit challenging in some instances, you know, so, but I think overall we could have been in a worse position. So 2025 has not turned out to be as bad as I think a lot of people thought it might be.
So the next thing, Nathan, I'm going to ask you to get your crystal ball out. I know you have one, and you're going to tell me, hopefully, what your thoughts and opinions are on what 2026 may look like.
I think actually the roll through to next year, it will be challenging next year. Of course, it's going to be, there are a lot of other dynamics happening, and confidence is always going to be quite important. And I think so long as member agents can continue to work with house sellers to make sure that they're going on the market at the right price for the right marketplace, and working hard to identify the right buyers, there will be a marketplace there that's fairly positive, really. It won't be a market to rest on your laurels next year, but having said that, I don't think we'd ever want that to be the case. We've still got an imbalance with regards to the letting side. So whilst in many areas we've seen rents effectively get to the sort of ceilings of affordability, shall I say, you know, we are still seeing activity happening out there. It's meant people have to be a little bit more realistic, but again, there's no reason why the lettings market won't continue to be strong. There will still be a lot more mergers and acquisitions going through as well. Some of the bigger players are obviously, you know, targeting small to medium sized entities with good quality books. So I think we'll still see activity in that sector. And again, I think how government decides to continue to roll things out and the impact of the budget at this moment in time is going to be a little bit to work through. But I think, overall, I'm not imagining we won't do the figures we need to do, Jonathan, next year. I think we'll still manage to hit the sales numbers we need to do. I think we'll still manage to cover things on the letting side of things. And I'm optimistic for auctions and commercial. It's roll your sleeves up, get on with what we do best, implement the new legislation that's coming through, look after our clients, and fight for every penny of fee that you're worth.
So, Nathan, everybody knows you like to keep us all very, very busy. So what exciting stuff have we got coming through the system in 2026 from Propertymark?
So we've got an awful lot planned for next year. I think further expansion of our company advantage to help members. We're putting a whole load of exciting new products into there at no additional cost, which is great, and that's been very successful. It's helped a lot of members manage to navigate things very well. It's managed to help them earn money and also save money, and we want to continue doing that. I think we've got a whole batch of stuff, some of which I'm not going to tell you about, Jonathan, because it's very exciting. And I can't reveal these things till through the year. But I think the one major thing I'm really pleased about is we've managed to keep our membership rates at exactly the same level. So despite costs going up, despite investments and in infrastructure and everything else that we've been doing as an organisation, we've managed to build that funding from other pots and other sources, and that's meant we've not needed to bring that down to members like a lot of other organisations. So for the fourth year, we've managed to swallow up inflation, we've swallowed up the costs, we've not impacted our members in any way, shape or form, and we've been able to continue to deliver more benefits. We've had 20 odd different regional conferences free for members. We did a whole range of renters' rights roadshows across all of the major cities, again completely free for members to be able to go to, and more importantly take their landlords and in some cases tenants turned up as well, to actually understand what the legislation means and how it's going to be implemented. And I think we've got a lot of incentives like that to go through. Qualifications, again, there's some more exciting news to come through on there. And we are going to be doing a review of individual membership benefits. And that's really exciting because having looked at where we are with companies and taking feedback and working through that over a 2 to 3 year period, the most exciting thing for me now is what do we need in 25, 26, 27 and all up to 2030 for individual members? And they're the things I want to hear from people. What do you need us to deliver for you? And let us go and make that work. And so we'll be doing a lot of consultation to support members going forward.
Thanks, Nathan. There we are, Nathan Emerson, Propertymark CEO, on his thoughts of how 2025 has been and how 2026 might go. Next on our list, we're going to check in with the Propertymark presidents, kicking off with Mary Lou Press, who is NAEA Propertymark president. Mary Lou, welcome along. And what are your thoughts on how 2025 has been?
Thanks for having me, John. 2025, the property market has been a roller coaster. It would be up and down. It certainly hasn't been a straightforward market for every agent out there, every seller or buyer. The start of the year kicked off with obviously the stamp duty threshold timeline, which made a hell of a lot of properties go onto the market and get exchanged very quickly, which was very interesting to see how quickly houses can advance through the chain. And then we had a bit of a dip, lull, and then obviously we've had the budget and different speculation slowing things down, or at least market caution there. So it has definitely been one of the most interesting years, I would say, in my 24 years.
So in terms of 2026, if you could get your Propertymark crystal ball out, what would you be foreseeing?
Going by most of the data reports that are coming through, as you know, we've done a lot of media coverage there on different outlets. It has shown that they expect a price rise between 2 and 4% over the next quarter into 2026. We've certainly seen a level of buyer demand has been quite consistent throughout the year of 2025. It's been a lack of stock, it's been slow conveyancing. So if they're predicting a price increase, that is a positive nature, and that will obviously show that the demand is still there. Depending on the region, some places have seen quite a ridiculous price rise of 10%, 15% over the last 12 months. So that taper off, or will that continue into 2026? I would say there's still caution, concern in the property market from buyers. But what we have noticed is obviously the mortgage lenders are offering new facilities for the older generation, also good lending potential for first-time buyers. They're obviously working towards getting more options for buyers to come onto the property ladder. I think the only negative I could have is for 2026, I think what the government is doing to improve the buying and selling process is quite sensible, but very important, future-proofing the conveyancing in the property market for generations, because it's taking too long to sell your home. Therefore, you're losing buyers, or you're not giving confidence to buyers to come to the market as well. So that will be a great improvement if they roll that out and make sure that, it should really only take 2 months for conveyancing. That's certainly happening in Northern Ireland. We've narrowed it down. Maybe the most it takes is 3 months. So hopefully that will definitely go ahead in 2026.
Mary Lou Press, NAEA Propertymark President, many thanks for coming on. All the best for 2026 as well. Next on our list, we're going to check in with ARLA Propertymark President, Megan 18. Megan, what have you seen for 2025? What are your thoughts so far?
Oh, 2025's been a bit of a whirlwind, hasn't it, John? We've seen a lot of change. We finally have a date for the Renters' Right Act now, not bill. It's no longer a bill, it's now an act. And we've seen a huge amount of shift of our focus now directing on that. I think a lot of the fear has started to subside away, and now we're all focused on how we implement the right changes in place so that we can successfully move through this. And what I will say is, John, I know that when there's big changes, it can be scary, but I do think the property industry is very resilient, and I am confident that we'll bounce through this. It's going to take a little bit of adjustment, and we're going to have to make a few changes, but I do think overall we'll all be okay at the other end.
So as we cruise towards 2026, what are your thoughts so far? We're going to see landlords dropping off, or are we going to see tenants rejoicing? There has been a lot of change, mainly in the kind of form of the Renters' Rights Act. What kind of changes are we going to see on the ground floor and in the market?
Honestly, I don't think we're going to get either of those things. I do think that a lot of the landlords that were nervous have already stepped out. So I don't personally feel that we're going to have a mass exodus at this point. There will continue to be a little bit of a trickle out of that portfolio. As the reality sets in, there'll no doubt be landlords that will be concerned. I think some of the changes support the portfolio in that sense, with restrictions around when you can relet after trying to sell. I think that means that only landlords that really, really want to sell are actually going to do that. But also, we've got a phased approach coming into the Renters' Rights Act. So we have got a bit of time, a little bit of a buffer to make sure that we're not panicking and we're making sure that this is all the right changes. So that is one side of things. Tenants rejoicing, I'm not so sure. I do think that my gut feeling is on this, that in a few years' time, they're going to have to unpick a lot of the damage that's been done. And that's hugely going to be around the rent. The rent increases that we've seen over the last few years are obscene. And I don't see that slowing down, because we already have seen that, supply is low and demand is super high. And I don't think that's going to change in 2026. But I think the good news is, as I said already, the resilience of this industry is super, 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 super strong. And I'm confident that we will bounce through this, and we will all look back at it and think, what were we all worried about?
Megan, thank you very much. While we're here, have you got any thoughts and messages for Propertymark members for 2026?
Oh, I have to say thank you. I cannot begin to explain to you how special this year has been for me. As somebody who has been a self-proclaimed Propertymark nerd for over a decade, I am in absolute awe of the fact that I get to stand there and represent you all week in, week out. I am looking forward, however, to a little break from the tour, but coming back strong in the end of January and looking forward to seeing as many faces at these regional conferences as possible.
Cheers, Megan. Massive thank you for coming on, and all the best for 2026. Right, next on our list is Stuart Colopran, NAVA Propertymark President. Right, Stuart, what are your thoughts for 2025 so far?
2025 for us in terms of auctioneers, I would say it's been pretty positive. I think figures are up 10-15% year on year in terms of lots offered in auction, as well as revenue raised for clients, and various different reasons for that. If you look at the Renters' Right Act, in terms of residential landlords leaving the market, they seem to be coming back into commercial investment, just because it's got longer lease terms, so it's a more secure investment versus residential. So that's been an interesting one. And I'd probably say the uncertainty of the private treaty market does help auctions in general, because people just want that speed and that certainty, which obviously with auction, you're 3 to 4 weeks to exchange contracts. You're not 3 to 4 months. So yeah, that's probably what we've seen the most this year. So yeah, it's been pretty positive.
So as we head towards 2026, what are your predictions? Is it going to be subdued? Is it going to be full on? What are you thinking?
Predictions for 2026, I think it'll be much the same. What I tend to find, or what we find in my specific sector of the market, is we see a lot of, we deal with a lot of banks, a lot of lenders, a lot of receivers, and we're seeing that the kind of investment value of the debt that's loaned against properties is actually quite high compared to what the market value is. So that's a bit of an issue we're finding at the moment. And there's a bit of, use the word constipation, but I think that will start coming through where banks want their money back a bit more. So I think they'll be a bit more forceful in terms of taking possession back from people when they're in arrears and when they owe money. So yeah, that's definitely something we're seeing. The Renters' Rights Act will have an impact. So again, I think there'll be more landlords leaving the market, and the big portfolio landlords who are not affected by base rates will come in and mop that up.
Stuart, legend as always, massive thank you for the chat. Next, I want to check in with Michael Sears regarding all things commercial property. And again, just like the whole property sector in general, has it been a bit of a roller coaster? Michael, how's 2025 been?
You can never forget that under commercial agency, it covers several quite diverse fields. It's unlike residential. So we're talking about areas such as retail, industrial and offices. And each of those sectors differs in terms of demand, in terms of the business occupier, the type of occupier, and variations in the market as well. So you've got to be mindful of the fact that there's not just one story on commercial overall. It's several stories.
So I think it's fair to say the high street is still a major talking point. We are starting to see a lot of development in town and city centres, aren't we?
I think people have got to cast their mind back now to over a generation ago when the Cameron government first came in, and it got Mary Portas to do her Mary Portas report on high streets. And she made several predictions about what needs to change and everything else. And some of those predictions have come into being, others perhaps haven't so much. But what she did say, town centres need to have a bit of a diversification in terms of community uses coming into town centres, as well as the traditional perhaps retail, whatever. And that's certainly, there's been a case of that. 2025 on the retail side, there's been some huge, I would say, regional variations, but not just regional, borough to borough type variations. In my town, I'm based in Gravesend in Kent, and we've got hardly any retail available. Most of it's taken, and yet I listened to a couple of the fellow commercial agents up in London, and they say that agency fell off a cliff 3-4 months ago in terms of retail lets. But that's not been the case in Kent. And normally you get it happening in London and it then starts to dissipate out. But that hasn't happened. So that's an interesting factor that's been this year. There's been huge variations in dialing into a lot of the meetings that we have with the commercial guys and everything else. There is a huge variation right the way up and down the country, town to town almost as well.
How do you feel the going is for investment, say, over the next 5 to 10 years, not just for the high street, but for all commercial investment overall, really?
A really good, interesting question, and one that's got several factors that are influencing it. This year, to go out there and buy a commercial property, they've been relatively cheap. And it depends what you're after. If you're after capital growth, perhaps it's a bit more challenging compared to residential. But if you're after that income there, that regular income, commercial outstrips residential all day long. I'll give you an example. A 3-bed semi in Gravesend in Kent will probably cost you in the region of about $350, let's say. A shop with a self-contained flat above will cost you in Gravesend about $350. But the difference is the commercial will be bringing in 1.5 times what the residential does in rents. And the other side to commercial, don't forget, you've got full repairing leases that you don't have on the residential side. So landlords haven't got the same obligations in terms of repairing obligations and maintenance, etc. Those are some of the factors, but also don't discount Renters' Rights Act. So as an agency, we deal with residential sales, and 25% of our sales this year have been landlords exiting market. What I've also had is portfolio landlords converting from residential to commercial for the very reasons that I just said.
Michael, as always, really good to chat with you. Right, finally on my list, I'm going to check in with Sarka Wilde with regards to the Propertymark Trust. Sarka, tell me the challenge you are about to undertake. This is incredible.
I'm going to Argentina to climb Aconcagua, which is the highest mountain of the Americas and also highest mountain in the world outside of Himalayas.
Wow, that's incredible. Right, Sarka, tell me why you're getting involved in this challenge, because I know there's a really underlying personal reason why you're taking this huge challenge on.
Yes, it does. I'm raising money for Propertymark Trust, which is the charitable arm of Propertymark that supports the Propertymark members, their employees and families in the time of the need, whether it's financial hardship, mental health issues, health issues. The Propertymark Trust is able to help those individuals, and I'm really, really passionate about this charity, John, purely because I know how important it is to have somebody who is able to help you when you need. And as property professionals, we are very bad at asking for help because we are usually on the front line and we have to always have it all together. And so having charity like Propertymark Trust who can help people in the need is really, really important. I lost my mom to suicide. I was a victim of domestic violence many years ago, but I've had quite a few serious issues that almost saw me stopping doing the business, running the business, and I just wish I could have gone to somebody like Propertymark Trust.
So loads of people have got firmly behind you on this. Share with me how much you've raised so far and also what your ambitions are before you head away only next month.
It's been absolutely incredible. The support that I received from the industry has been absolutely immense. When I set up the target, I set up ambitious £10,000, which for me was lots of money given how busy I've been and the amount of training that I had to do. However, I have almost double this. I'm currently on £19,076 and therefore we upped the target and we are going for 20,000. It wouldn't be possible without that support that I've received from various people in the industry, whether they are suppliers or friends, and also people outside of the industry, my personal friends. So if somebody wanted to donate to help us to achieve 20,000, I'd be absolutely over the moon.
That is absolutely incredible. So how can people get further involved and maybe sponsor you or support you?
So people can just go on the Just Giving page, justgiving.com/page/Sarka-Wilde1. They want me to send them the link. They can contact me through LinkedIn or any other means on social media, Instagram or Facebook, and I'd be happy to send them the link.
So this is one incredibly enormous challenge. How are you kind of feeling personally, just literally weeks ahead of it? Kind of anxious, positive, bit of a mix of everything?
If I was to think about it, I'd be probably scared. Somebody asked yesterday whether I was ready, and I don't feel ready, but then I spoke to a couple of people, and generally when you are doing big challenge, it's apparently normal not to feel ready. Like I'm ready to go. At the same time, I feel that I should train more, that I could have done more, that I could do more. So it's one of these things where I keep pushing any negative thoughts away, and I'm just taking day at a time, step at a time, as I'm saying to everybody, and basically I start thinking about it when I'm on the plane.
Come on, you walk on fire. You're going to absolutely smash this.
Yes.
Can we have another chat when you are back down on the ground and finish this challenge? I would love to have you back on and have a chat on how it all went.
Absolutely.
There we go, Sarka Wilde, and what is a massive challenge to raise £20,000 for the Propertymark Trust. The initial target was £10,000. That has been smashed. The new target is £20,000. And Sarka is really close. If you'd like to get behind her on this, make contact on LinkedIn, and she would very much appreciate that help. Right, Sarka, I would love to check in with you when you're safely back on the ground, and I'm looking forward to chatting about the experience that it all was.
Keep up to date with the latest news and information from Propertymark.
Now, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say at this point. A massive thank you for listening. Your thoughts, ideas, and opinions are what makes this podcast tick. As always, feel free to drop me a line at studio@propertymark.co.uk. Best wishes for 2026. We are back on the 9th of January with plenty of conversation points. Enjoy the rest of the festive period, and let's get going on whatever the new year brings us.